back to my channel. I'm back with you today with a 12x12 process video for Cut to You. So this video counts as an advertisement. So what you are just watching me do at the moment is I'm gessoing my page. I'm using textured white cardstock and I'm just popping some white gesso over the top because in a little while I'm going to do some mixed media with those distress oxides. But the files I'm using today from Cut to You are Life is Short, Eat the Cake and that lovely cupcake that you can see there. Both of those are part of the July release, and then I'm also using the candles which are part of a newsletter freebie that came out I believe on the 15th of July. So I'm using 3 cut files, gone a little bit over the top I suppose on this one, but I like them all and they fit together so well that I wanted to use all of them on this one layout. I have made them smaller, so none of them are sort of 12x12 in size. I've resized them, made them quite a bit smaller so that they fit on my page perfectly around the 3 photographs that I wanted to use. I actually have about 6 or 7 photographs of this particular event, but I decided to only use 3 of them. I used in the large one there of my son blowing out the candle, and then there was one before and one after the candle is blown out. So what I'm doing now, I'm using the packaging technique, and I'm just pressing my distress oxides onto that bit of plastic, spraying it with water, and then sort of kissing the page and sort of dabbing it all over the page. And I wanted that sort of diagonal stripe to go through the middle. I'm now using my brush to add in extra bits and pieces. I've used a couple of different colours. So I've used, I think I've used Mermaid Lagoon, and I've also used Faded Jeans, which is the darker blue colour. So like I said, I used that packaging technique to start with, and then I'm using my brush to do some splatters, fill in some extra bits, and just make sure the colour is exactly where I want it to be on that page. I'm not going to do a great deal else to this page, so I just wanted to make sure that I had everything enough colour on there where I wanted it. So just cleaning off my brushes and things now. And then my next job is to start backing those lovely cut files. There's several different ways you can back cut files, and I know everyone has their preference. It depends for me how I'm feeling on a particular day as to how I'm going to do it. So now I've cleaned up all my mess from doing all those paint splatters. I will show you how I'm going to do my cut file. So this is just a really cheap paper pad that's available at the Works in the UK, and it's just got these lovely kind of ombre papers in, and I must go back and get some more because I think they're absolutely stunning. And so I'm just pulling out a few other sheets of blue now from my stash. That's an Echo Park one, I believe, from Birthday Boy, and there's a various different papers there that I'm using. So what I've done to back my cut file today is I have just cut some little squares out in the right sizes, and I have just popped some wet glue around the outside of those hearts because I want those in a different colour. And then all I'm going to do is take my scissors once I've rubbed the glue off my mat, and I'm just going to cut around the outside of them. You can do it where you take the inside of the cut file and draw around that and create the shape that's the right size. I just prefer to do it this way. I think it works better for me, and I just find I get better results, but you can do it however is comfortable for you. I don't make you watch me cutting out all of this because it does take me quite a while, because obviously I've got 3 different cut files there to back. So just let you watch a little bit of me doing my cupcake here. And then we quickly scoop to all 3 of them being completed. So I've done the letters there in different pattern papers, I've done the candles in different pattern papers, and I've also done the cupcake in 3 different pattern papers. One thing I will say, with the candles, they come as a group and they're all attached together. So what I did with those candles was I've actually cut them up. It was my son's 6th birthday, these pictures, so I wanted to pop 6 candles on that cupcake, so I've cut them apart and just done 6 of them. You can use them however you want. I think remembering sometimes with cut files that they don't have to stay exactly as you can see them on the screen. You can adapt them, you can make them smaller, make them bigger, you only use part of them, combine them, and just be free with how you use them. So what I'm doing right now is just using some more of that ombre paper, and I am just backing those photographs, popping some bits of paper behind them. I don't want a lot. There's so much going on that page already with that mixed media that I've done. I just don't feel it needs a great deal, but it does need something just popping behind those photographs. So using double-sided sticky tape, and I'm going to stick them on. I'm not going to stick them on straight. I do like to stick things on just offset slightly. And there goes that lovely purple colour, just trimming it down a little bit more. So there's that big one. And then I'm going to do the same with the two smaller photographs with slightly different papers. So there's that one. The large photograph, if you're interested, is 4x6, and then the two smaller ones I've cut down to being 3x4. I do always try and stay in the same ratios. I'm just using some adhesive foam now to stick my photograph down, because the whole layout is focused around that middle photograph of him blowing out that candle. I wanted that to be in the middle, so I've kind of made sure it's all centered around that photograph, and I'm just cutting out a little bit more of that cut file. I obviously missed cutting out the rest of the C when I did it. I do want to overlap that word life is and as much of the as I can onto that photograph, simply because I noticed when I placed it on the page it kind of disappeared, and I didn't want to lose those words, so I've made it so that they overlap. I've also tucked that little cupcake in so it's above and above the smaller photograph and just tucked behind the larger one. I'm just cutting some little strips up now and making some little tabs to stick behind the photographs. I know in my stash I don't have many things in the colours I've chosen to use in terms of ephemera, but because I've used 3 cut files, I don't think I need a great deal of ephemera going on this page. So I just make a couple of my own tags by cutting little strips of paper and rounding the corners, and then popping them on with some adhesive foam. And then we just have to stick down this cupcake as well. So that one gets tucked in, just like that. And then my candles, I'm just going to pop some wet glue on the back of those and tuck those in behind that cupcake. Now I originally I've done it with wet glue so that I can move them if I want to, because invariably I will want to. So just lifting it slightly to tuck them down a little bit more. They seem a bit tall, so I want to tuck them in a little bit further. And I'm happy with them once they're a little bit lower. And then I've just got to pop adhesive foam and things on the back of this cut file. I keep a spare pair of scissors that's just for cutting sticky things. I have my cutter bees there for my fussy cutting, but I do just keep this older pair that I use, and they are gunked up and they are sticky and I can't use them to cut anything else, but they are very good to use just to do my sticky bits. So I haven't put adhesive foam on the back of the R and the T because I know those 2 letters are going to sit on top of the photograph, and that's already got adhesive foam behind it. But I have put it on the back of all the others. I'm now just putting wet glue everywhere else, so that it gets adhesion wherever it lands. It takes me a while to decide where exactly it's going to go, but then we just press it down and it sits really nicely on that corner. I do feel the page needs a little bit of bordering, so I'm going to take a fine liner pen and I'm just going to do some hand doodling all the way around the edge. I'm then going to do some faux stitching just with my pen by doing some wiggles, and then I decide I'm going to do a little bit more of that around the edges of the photographs as well. That's about it for my process video. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you again soon with more process videos.